The views and or opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of KWAM. Welcome to the Variety Hour on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Listen to you move your mouth. I bet you come from way down south. Now don't tell me, let me guess. You from the town that I love best. Talk Memphis, I wish you would. Talk Memphis, you sound so good. Talk Memphis, high on the bluff. I swear I can't get enough. Listening to you talk that stuff. Talk Memphis, oh yeah. Talk Memphis.
This is the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. I am your host, Dean Harris. I am with CrestCore Realty over on Summer Avenue. Appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. Some of you might be tuning in here at AM 990 Memphis, FM 107.9, or online at KWAM 990 Memphis. So I appreciate all of you guys tuning in there. The Memphis Real Estate Hour will concentrate on investing in Memphis real estate. We will focus on our residential market a little bit. And I will also have our local and national vendor partners on the show from time to time. They'll share their knowledge with you on how to become an investor in Memphis or how to become a better investor in Memphis. Today's show, I'm going to have an investment of the week. I can't wait to give you these two really good cash flowing properties, all in really good zip code rental areas. So I'll have those for you at the bottom of the hour around 8:30. Remind you guys, too, every single show that I am an investor. So if you have that old home, you inherited an old home, maybe it's a relative family member that used to live in it, it's run down, trashed out, or it's in great shape. I don't care really what condition it's in. Just give me a call or an email, and I'll get you a cash offer on that home. You can email me at dean@crestcore.com. That's DEAN at CrestCore.com. Dean@CrestCore.com. Facebook Live, guys, are on Facebook Live this morning and every Tuesday morning. So you guys, appreciate you tuning in to that. If you have questions during the show, please post them on the comment section. We'll try to read those during the break and get you some answers to that. You can also go back and look at the show's Facebook page for old show videos that you can go check out. And speaking of, on last week's show, Dan and I talked about analyzing 6 markets compared to Memphis. So go back to the show's Facebook page. You can check that out. We kind of broke it down from what's good and bad in a bunch of different markets compared to Memphis and investing here in Memphis. So today's show, we're going to talk about top quotes to live by in real estate and investing. So tune in. We're about to dive right into it. Dan, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Let's discuss this a little bit. Top quotes to live by in real estate and investing. These are, opinion based in a lot of circumstances, I know, but when it comes to quotes in real estate and things to live by, I mean, we all have mottos in life.
Yep.
And generally, if you're on a team, you have a team motto or whatever it may be, or you have some mission statement or values, something along those lines. So what are some of these quotes? What are when we think of top quotes to live by in real estate, what are some of the things that we think about first?
Well, one of my favorites that ran across here recently is just from Warren Buffett: be fearful when others are greedy, but be greedy when others are fearful.
That's powerful, isn't
it? That's very powerful. And I feel like it's so applicable right now. And that's why it just hit me,
because the market's so good.
The market's so good. And what does all that mean? So I thought we'd just, unpack that for our listeners today, just kind of play that out. What's that mean for those looking to and currently in investing or thinking about investing and that kind of thing?
All right, let's break it down then. Be fearful when others are greedy. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think, you got several different layers to a market, right? You got the peak, which I think we were talking about that before the show. I'd love to hear from the listeners' comments where we think we are. I think we're we're close to that peak. I don't know what you think. What do you think about that?
Almost there.
Almost there.
I mean, that's an opinion, but
that's right.
And the calls are not stopping, but I guess in my own mind, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this has got to not stop, but this has got to
slow down, cool off, level out.
Yeah, something's got to happen.
So when you're in that peak, like we feel like we are, everybody wants to buy. They fear they're going to miss out. They're going to be last to the party. Real estate prices, though, are now a new high.
That's right.
Right? So it's an interesting dynamic. You get prices a new high, but you also have all these people feel like, well, I got to get in now. Or, I mean, how many times you get the question, am I too late? I hear that. I get that several times a week. Mm-hmm. Am I too late to the party? Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, you're not too late to the party, but, and that's what we'll talk about the rest of the show, a lot of the first segment. But
how will you adjust? How will you conform, and how do you run your business? But be fearful when others are greedy. Mm-hmm. In other words, be cautious when others are getting out there trying to get everything they can get their hands on, but be greedy when others are fearful. So it's almost like not take advantage of the weak, but zig when people are zagging.
Yes,
which is something that we kind of, it's a little motto that you and I have tossed around a bunch, is zig when other people
zig
are
when zag. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think be greedy when others are fearful. What that's saying is, kind of like the Boy Scouts, just be prepared. Be thinking about what is that market, when the market goes down, what does that look like for you? And that's when the real money is made. And that's what people don't realize. Like, that's when the real money is made, is when the markets are in a contraction standpoint, where things, and then hit the low point, the kind of that contraction and low point, when the things are starting to slow down.
Yep.
When things are, prices are starting to drop a little bit, the demand is going down, so then people are getting desperate to sell their houses. They got to move their product. I think, housing starts slowing down as far as new builds. Mm-hmm. So, to me, that's what we need to get coaching through. Like, how do we all prepare for that, and be patient for it, the dip. That's right.
I was talking to a guy last week about, everything's going so well, Dean. Everything's going so well. What are you going to do when it dips? What are you going to do? What's going to happen then? Or actually, his question was, and I don't think we'll see this, but his question was, what are you going to do when 2008 and 2009 come up again? And I think, I've been in this a long time, mm-hmm. so I've seen I came in on the up, and it went way down.
Right.
And now I'm in it again on the up. So we're going to have another dip. It's going to happen. I don't think it'll be to the level of 2009 and 10, 8, 9, 10. I just don't. I mean, that was rock bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, like rock bottom. But
it's going to take a world event.
It's going to take something, yes, a world event, or it's going to take these banks continuing to loosen up this criteria again and get us back in that same situation, which I certainly hope not.
Yeah.
But he asked me, he goes, well, what are you going to do if that happens? He's like, how can you sustain, or how do you avoid, working all day long and not getting sales, or working all day long and nobody's buying or selling? And it was a simple answer, and it's the reason why I focused on investment real estate as a career change,
mm-hmm.
10 years or 7, 8 years ago.
Right. Because I talked you into it. I'm just kidding.
You're right. That constant beat down.
Beat.
Yeah, that's right. But
you said yes.
That's right. That's kind of like, well, never mind. So, right. So when it goes down, I told him, I said, I actually, and a lot of real estate agents and other people don't want to hear this, but mm-hmm. I'm actually fine with a dip, not a crash. Yeah. I don't want an economic crash of everything.
Right.
But a nice solid dip in the real estate market won't affect you and I and our business. It'll actually probably pick it up even more.
Yes.
Because what people are going to see, there's a bunch of people right now that have cash
mm-hmm.
or the ability to borrow, and either they're not finding the deals that they want, or they're literally laying in the cut for a year or so until this does die down and it does dip. When the market dips and the housing market dips and it goes down, I will begin to see investors come out of the woodwork
mm-hmm.
because prices have dipped and prices are going down, and they're going to come out and they're going to pay cash. So all these guys, and that's kind of why I do encourage people to get into it now. If they're saying, am I too late to the party? No, I don't think you're too late now. In 2 years from now, will you be? You might be. You know, you might be paying at that peak. You might be buying in Memphis when the tenant pool runs out. You know, who knows when that's coming. But I would, if I'm you, go ahead and get in it. Then we'll have a lull, and then the market will dip, and we'll have more cash buyers infused to the market.
Yeah.
So
it's
I'm
just
actually
and this is a different buyer.
It's a different buyer. It's a
Right.
it's a cash buyer. It's a stronger buyer. So to me, it's like I'm okay with the dip. I'm fine with it, and that's why I would encourage any investor that's listening out there. You've heard us say this 100 times. It's buy right. If you buy the property right, no matter what the market is bearing, you should be in good shape.
I think, what does they say? The markets dip every 7 years.
7 to 9.
7 to 9.
And if
And what
you look
year?
at it-
What year are we on?
9.
7 or 9? Yeah, somewhere in
It's
that.
coming.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. It's coming, and that's fine.
I mean, gas is. I went paid gas for my car this weekend. It's almost $3.
So see,
You know what I mean? It was down to what, 2?
yeah, it was. And you remember when the market
So that's
crashed
a
where that was?
100% increase. Not 100, 50%.
People were taking their SUVs. The gas prices were going so high. People were taking their SUVs and trading them in for cars.
That's right.
You know,
And that's going to happen
It's
again.
going to happen again.
So, all that to say, I think. So how do we? I mean, my thing is, what I think we need to have two takeaways today on that this quote. Like, what do you do during this peak, and then how do you prepare when it's not in the peak,
And get ready for
and get ready, in a positive way. You know, I think to me, and it's all in the way you look at it. And I think the second segment's gonna be fun to, to talk through and probably relate it back to this. I hadn't thought of it that way, but it's all in what you believe and what you put into action. So if you think market's going to go dip and oh my gosh, I got to get out, I'm going to go put my money back in mutual funds and
Then you'll be in mutual
then
funds.
you'll be in
forever.
mutual funds, right? Versus, man, I'm like almost licking my chops,
Waiting on it.
waiting,
And that,
like because we just don't buy as much as we used to, because we're so busy running the businesses. We're not focused on, we're not in that growth mode for the houses because of the businesses. Now, if the market flips on us,
then you'll turn it back.
we'll turn it back. You know what I mean? So
I think that's smart for any investor to set themselves up for. You're talking from an investor standpoint.
that's right. But we still buy. So I want to make sure to clarify that we still buy, but it's just more selective, and we can get into
Which
that
I
in a
think
second.
everyone has got to be.
That's right.
I mean, we talk about, some of our notes down here, we'll get to them, but it's,
Mm-hmm.
10x your search and 10x your thought process. And I mean, if you're not finding the deal that's right for you, well, then 10x your source
Your zip
of where
codes, your
zip codes.
markets,
That's right.
your sources.
Yeah.
I think that people just, I can't, that phrase drives me a little bit
What?
bananas.
What?
I can't find any deals.
Hey, you're not looking.
You're not looking. You're just not pushing hard enough.
I just bought one last week.
Yeah, you did. Who found you that one?
You did. Thank
Did
you.
I?
Yes, you did.
Man, did I get a commission?
Thank you publicly.
That's right.
This is on the record.
This is on the record.
So if
I
you
love
ever,
this.
don't ever say I never
Thank you,
said
Mr. Dan.
Yes, it's on. It's on. I mean, so I'll just email you this video.
I just handed you a silver platter
Yes, you
deal.
did.
Yeah.
My
That
children.
was a good one, though. I
and-
like it. I'm
That
happy
was a
for
good
you.
one.
So, I mean, to your point, you can still find them. It was a great.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a great long-term rental. It's in Berkeley.
Yeah.
3 bedrooms. I think it's 1 bath, but
That's fine.
those work up there.
2-year lease.
2-year lease already in place.
Mm-hmm.
$750 rent.
$725.
$725. Yeah.
Paid
So anyway,
42.
I think, but you got to be, that thing wasn't posted 2 minutes.
Not at all. I mean, it wasn't long.
You were probably the first call.
I called that guy right away, and I just said, "Hey, I'm wanting. I'll send my. We got a rehab crew over there in 3 hours.
That's right.
So I mean, I really did. I had David over there that afternoon.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, so to the point, just starting to look at other cities. We've expanded our zip codes. We're in North Mississippi.
yeah,
We're in West Memphis. We're trying to ramp that back up. We're doing a lot of work over there the last couple of weeks. So
Yep.
we're expanding our area just to help our investors to be able to find the deals
Yep.
and not just so much find a house. There's a difference.
Yes, and so you understand that we preach or practice what we preach. This 10x thing, I hopefully later in the year we can announce this market that we're going into. But we're going into different markets.
Absolutely.
And we're doing different. So we're not just sitting here spewing this out over the air, telling you, "Hey, 10x your ideas and more phone calls and more postcards." Well, we're reaching some goals that we've set up here in Memphis as a company, and so
Right.
now we're trying to 10x ourselves. We're going into another market here this year,
Yeah.
hopefully. So
Should
hopefully
be.
we'll be able to announce
So
that.
that's our number one priority.
Is growth.
Is growth
and to continue to go.
Yep. So I mean, the other thing is just look at other asset classes. We've talked about that in the past. When you're in a peak, like the multifamily, the commercial, that still tends to stick around a cap rate. Now the cap rate's gotten tighter, so that's you probably have to look more for a value add, but there's less competition. You don't want to be playing against the hedge fund. That's what's so interesting dynamic. We didn't have the hedge funds and private equity 10 years ago. Now they're in the single family space, and so going down to the courthouse sometimes may or may not make sense based on what you're looking for. So just look at other asset classes. Another way to make things happen.
Well, that goes back to the very beginning of the show. What we said, you guys zig when people are zagging.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's
if they're
right.
buying, if you got guys buying all these single families, well, maybe look at multifamily.
That's right.
Look at some of those options. Other asset classes, continue to buy right. I mean, that's been our motto here, and I don't, you'll get tested with this.
Oh yeah.
Every day. If you're an active investor,
I get stuck into it. I mean,
you'll get tested. Man,
I want those houses. I'm bad about that. Like, that's why I have a good partner with Douglas.
He's the brakes.
To the brakes. Hey, wait, what did you think about this? Well,
not as much as you did.
That's not as much as you did.
Right.
But to our point, but at the end of the day, we stick to our formula. We stick to what we know works. We stick to what we know the banks will finance. We stick to what we know cash flow. And we've learned a lot. We've had to tweak that since we first started. It's not the same formula we used.
Hey, I got a good question.
Yeah, man.
All right. When you say stick to our formula, this is applying here to buy it right. Do you have any kind of, and other investors have got to be curious about this, because when we say stick to your numbers, let's say you got a home and your number is 40,000. You, in your numbers in your mind, for this rental, for this condition, it needs X amount of dollars in rehab, blah, blah, blah. 40 grand is the most I pay. Where is the number that you'll agree to go above your threshold? Is it 41? Will you pay 41? Or if the seller's at 42.5 and you're at 40 and that's your number, do you make up the gap at 2,500? Do you stick to that religiously?
All right, great question. I think where it boils down to is your price, my terms, or your terms, my price. So I'm not so much hung up on that 40. I might pay 50.
If you can
but
owner finance
2% interest and owner finance for 5 years on a 15-year amortization. There's a price, that I'm willing to pay. Now the number's still got a cash flow. Let's make sure we got that.
Yeah, you're not going to go crazy with it. But
not going to go crazy with it. But the number should end up intersecting about the same spot. Whether it's the 40,000 at say 5% or 50,000 at 2.5%. I bet those numbers same money on a monthly cash flow, and then you look at the intersection. So I'll start behind on the principal and interest payment, but it catches back up. Does that make sense?
100, yes.
So within I did that one example. I think I've used on the radio before. We bought 8 houses. The guy the bank was owed 80. They wanted 55. We wanted to pay 35.
Right.
And I said, here's 35 at 5%. Well, I just gave my spreadsheet. I've done this twice in the last week, by the way.
Yeah.
I've given my spreadsheet, my Excel sheet. I said, make the numbers work.
This is where I'm at.
This is where I'm at. So they came back and put it at the 55, which they felt like they needed. They only want to write off so much on that deal.
Yep.
But they had it at 2.5%.
So it's the same money.
It's the same money, cash flow wise, and then within year 2 or something like that, it catches up, and I'm way off to the races, in a much more aggressive.
So the answer to that question is, if you're at 40 and they're at 42.5,
make some adjustments.
Make some adjustments in the offer.
That's right.
Maybe go ahead and pay them that 42.5, but let's lower the rate a little bit.
That's right. Have an owner finance part of it. Something's different.
So you'll negotiate. So let's back it up even. Let's say you're negotiating 35, 37. Okay, now I'm up to 40. Well, that's my number. Okay, well, 42.5, I'm the seller. That's my number.
Right.
And what are we going to – you wait until you get to a stalemate. Your gap's $2,500, and then you'll present the idea of adjusting the rate or doing something to make up the difference.
Potentially, yeah. I like to – we went through this before, but I like to give people choices. People love choices.
What do you think your conversion rate is on that? Like, so, and say you've got the home, you're 2,500 apart. You cannot come up over 40. It doesn't cash flow anymore. They're saying they're not going below. You offer up an alternative solution of different terms, rates, length of the payment, or whatever. How often do you think you close that deal? Half the time?
Yeah, I'd say half.
And then you walk away
when
from
you
the
get
other
in,
half?
when you get when bulk packaging, when you get the one-offs are harder.
Right.
When you have somebody with 4, 5, 10 houses, there's a lot more wiggle room, discussion points,
need for sale.
You know, they have equity sometimes, usually.
Yeah.
So there's more conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a one-off, you know, that seller could be stuck a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they can't do anything.
They can't do
They might
it.
have a mortgage to pay. Or
That's right.
Whatever. Mm-hmm.
But we're going to still offer. I mean, depending on what the situation is, they might be able to walk away with $2,000 loss because they got to move to Seattle
This is a good.
and go support Schultz in his presidential run. Is it Schultz?
I don't know.
What's
To
Starbucks?
me, it's mocha frappuccino or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's right.
Whatever Amber orders. Whatever that $8 drink that Amber orders 3 times a week.
Man.
Gosh, no wonder he's wanting to run for president.
Yeah, that's right.
Sells $8 cups
It's
of coffee.
$8 coffee that costs them 50 cents.
That's right. Or maybe.
I bet the materials are 25 to 50, and then the labor is several dollars.
This is a tangent, and I'll make it quick. In college, I did a report on McDonald's and their soft drinks and the money that they charge you for that.
The soft drinks is like the biggest moneymaker in the place.
4.5 cents for their extra large thing that costs them. They charge you $1. They're giving you a discount with $1.
Right.
Remember, it's usually $1.79.
Right.
Costs them usually the 32 ounce was like 4 to 4.5 cents. Yeah,
That's good margins.
It's good margins.
Several 100%.
So, all right, guys, you're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. We're going to take a real quick break. I'm talking with Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty this morning, and we are talking about top quotes to live by in real estate and investing. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. We'll be right back after this.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the Crescent Club, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010.
Continued mostly sunny and warm. High temperatures mainly in the upper 80s. Winds will be swirling and they'll be light. Clear upper 60s tonight, but back to near 90 over the next several days. Increasing rain chances by late in the weekend. Memphis Spine and Rehab relocating to Germantown across from the Chick-fil-A on Wolf Trail Cove. Check them out at thememphisspine.com or call 901-751-0939. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
CBS Money Watch.
Howard Schultz is stepping down as executive chairman of Starbucks. Schultz said in a letter to employees that he's considering a range of options for his future, including public service. Kia is recalling about 106,000 Sedona minivans because the sliding doors may not automatically reverse if they close on a limb. Kia says of the 21 complaints they received, 14 of them said someone was injured due to the malfunction. Owners of affected 2015 to 2018 models will be notified by mail that they need to take their minivans to a dealership to be fixed. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. In New York, I'm Laura Podesta.
To prevent muscle cramps in your legs and feet, use TheraWorks Relief. This fast-acting foam is clinically proven to relieve leg and foot cramps. Get TheraWorks Relief today at select Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid pharmacies or TheraWorksRelief.com. Ask your pharmacist for TheraWorks Relief.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. Got Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty here in the studio. We're talking about top quotes to live by in real estate investing. But first, I've got your investments of the week. You guys get your pens out, your recording devices, your transcriber.
Free money.
Free money. You love that, don't you?
I do.
You just
love
got
it.
to spend a little bit to get it. But all right, I got two great properties. They're both occupied. They're both cash flowing really well. The 1000 block of Panama Street. It's over in one of my favorite zip codes, 38122. This one states it's got 5 bedrooms. I think it's just 4, but 4 2.5. It's a great property. It's occupied at $800 a month, and the seller's wanting $54,900. I'm just telling you, for $54,900 these days in this area with the house that's in this decent of condition, having an $800 rental is a great buy. At least 4 bedrooms. I think it's 5. 2.5 bathrooms. 1184 Panama Street in 38122. That's in the Berkeley area. $54,900. The seller's asking for that one. Number 2, 3000 block of Sandy Springs Drive, 38128 Raleigh. It's a nice brick home. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. Occupied at $775. Seller's asking $48,900. So for a little over $100,000, you're at $1,575 in total rent. So we've done the math on the show before. That's a 1.5. I mean, that's a great return of 2 good properties in 2 good areas that you should not have any trouble getting them occupied. So a lot of times I come on this show and I give out these investments of the week, and I'll get calls on them, and I'll get, these things sell and these will pop off. These are some of the 2 or some of the best groups and pairs that I brought in here. This is stuff that I would buy. This is the price range that I look at. It's kind of right in that threshold of this is a great investment property and the numbers match up. So real quick, 1184 Panama, 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's $54,900, occupied at $800 a month. And 3316 Sandy Springs Drive in Memphis, 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath, occupied at $775, and the seller's asking $48,900. If you guys have any other questions about investments of the week, go to our website, CrestCoreRealty.com. That's www.CrestCoreRealty.com. You can check out all of our listings. I think we've got 92 active listings right now, and you can see all the investments of the week. So you guys check that out when you can. All right, before we went to break, Dan and I were talking about top quotes to live by in real estate and investing. So we got through a large, a good portion of this, talking about continuing to buy right, what's just as important during the peak. Dan, is kind of our next thing. So what, during the peak of a market, what are some of the, what are some of the line items or topics that you look at as, most important during our peak? Preparing for it, I guess, is the first.
Well, during the peak, I'd say just continue to buy right, like we were talking about earlier. Stick to your guns, whether it's that 0.5% ratio, 1% ratio. Mm-hmm. If you're at 1, if that's what you like to buy, those higher end houses, really caution yourself if it starts to be in a 0.8% ratio. And I guess let's step back and say what that ratio is. It's basically the monthly rent divided by the all-in price.
Yeah, explain that. So what's a 1.5? If it's $100,000, it needs to rent for $1,500.
That's right. So, but a 1% would be $1,000 rent for a $100,000 house. So that'd be 1%. That's just a quick rule. You know, I came up with 1.5 years ago, and you know, I think 1% is kind of, you hear that a lot. You know, in Bigger Pockets and different real estate forums out there, and you know, I think you got to keep the emotions out of it. Be patient. 10x it as far as what you're looking, where you're looking, how you're looking, who you're connecting with, and just. But you got to keep pushing. You got to keep buying. I don't think you ever stop, even through the peak.
No.
Because to your point, you hit on something earlier I liked. It was just you kind of got to be doing it all the time so that when the low point, the trough,
you're ready.
You're ready.
Yeah.
You know, when you get that low point of the market, when housing prices have really gone down, buyers are slow to act. Not as much action.
Right.
You've got your team. You got everything in place.
That's right.
So.
Well, and I wouldn't start. Yeah. So to that, starting in the low points, by the time you get going and geared up, it'll be back out of it again.
That's right.
I mean, so starting now, even if you're not buying at a record pace right now.
Yeah, and if I had to think about, I had never thought about that. If I hadn't have done what I've done during the good times back in the early 2000s,
you wouldn't be able to capitalize.
I wouldn't have capitalized on the bad of the market. Yeah. I would not have been ready. I wouldn't have the experience, the wisdom, the bank relationships. And I think we're going to hit that, how to prepare for that. But
that's right.
I would not have been ready for that low point.
I
would have been just starting, and I would have been just slow to the game. And Doug's and I joke, we look back and we wish we had bought twice as much as we did.
Would you say that there's different levels of investors?
Sure.
A different level of being an investor, I should say. And what I mean by that is, back when you guys first started, it was, engines churning, let's buy.
Right.
What can we get our hands on? How can we refinance? Well, now that it's slowed up a little bit, you're still an investor.
That's right.
You might not buy something for 30 days. You might buy 10 in the next 30 days.
That's right.
So there's different levels of this. Just because you're not buying right now doesn't mean you don't need to concentrate. This is not a job or work. I mean, you got your whole portfolio to manage and take care of. So even if you are just getting into this and you have that question of, am I too late, or is this the wrong time to buy? No, you just got to buy right. So if you're slower coming into it and you say, oh, I've only bought 2 in 9 months. Well, okay. Right. Well, good.
That's right.
You're managing those 2. You've bought those 2 right. Okay, so next year comes. Oh, I only bought 3. And I said, okay.
That's right.
Well, now you're at 5. And we're going into 2020.
Right.
Now maybe we see that dip, and you're like, whoa.
I mean, I could buy 10.
I could buy 10 in the next 3 months. I've saved up this money. I've got the loan approved and whatever it is. So, yeah, coming into it at any time is the right time. You just need to make sure when you do come in it, have adjusted your business model right. Maybe you don't buy as quickly right now, or maybe you do. Maybe it's the cash flow and you're fine with those numbers and you come in, just adjust your business right. So how to prepare. So if we're in this, peak moment or months or time frame, how do you prepare for that? How do you...
For the low point?
Yeah, so we're talking about, hey, go on and come into it now and get yourself ready. Well, how do we get ourselves ready for that?
I think if I think about it, I would suggest,
the first one's a big one.
Be liquid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just have your cash available, your lines of credit available. Work on creating lines of credit. If you're in that buy 1 or 2 or 3 a year, you might not have to have the lines of credit or different avenues like that or liquid cash to do it. You might keep that over in the market, but if you're going through a low point, you need to have more cash, more lines of credit, more banking relationships available. And, that's the piece that I think this the kind of the glue of it all is the banks need to understand how good you are during the great times.
Yeah.
Because in the low times, what do you think they're going to do?
They're going to be super conservative.
They're going to be super conservative. They're holding back. It's going to take, some work. But it's doable, you know what I mean? But if you didn't have so kind of the same story, you haven't been around for the good times and haven't got a track record, haven't got shown where you've made payments for 5 years in a row with no late payments. You don't have any of that.
So you're just starting out.
You're just starting out.
Just as nervous as if they were loaning to a guy who was leveraged up to the hilt.
That's right.
He might have 100 houses and he's leveraged up to the hilt. But they're not going to loan to him either because their screws are so tight right now.
That's right.
Same way with you entering into the business, they have no history on you. They have no idea how you're going to react. So getting into this, being liquid, I think, is one of the best. let's see, how much cash allows the credit. Banking relationships in this situation will go I'm learning this now. Banking relationships in these situations go 10 miles.
Oh yeah.
If you've been banking, like we've got several, planners, First Financial, we got several, Brighton, we got several, got Triumph, we got several people that we work with and bank with, but having that relationship of what you just said, they know how you react when the market's good. They see your business model, pay your notes on time, your cash flowing, you're not buying questionable properties. And then you come into this good market, and that banker automatically knows you're good to go. This is something that you can speak about, because I know with your portfolio size, your banking relationships are at a different level of importance than a newer investor. But the newer investor you didn't just start with a great relationship with Triumph or with whoever. You built that.
Built it, yeah.
Built that relationship, and go talk about a little bit about that banking relationship, why it's so important, and why during a peak it's important, and then why kind of when it dips it's equally as important.
I think they're equally as important, through all the markets. So if you're going to commit to something, whether it be wholesaling, flipping, rentals, we spend a lot of time talking about buy and hold, but this could apply to
the majority of our clients.
Yeah, majority of our clients, but I think it applies to any of that. So like the banks really just need to understand your business model, need to understand your cash flow. We are strategic where we place our deposit accounts, with deposits for our tenants and our cash for the business and rents, and you use all that. As you're building your business, people don't realize, you just walk in a business and take. You got to give too, and so when you ask them what they need or what they want, and some of the need might just be referring the right kind of client. You turn into their best salesperson by finding. I ask that question all the time. Who do you want right now?
You ask that of bankers?
Yeah, all the time.
What client?
Who's your ideal client right now?
What are they saying right now?
Somebody that's a passive investor that wants professional property management. Isn't that interesting? Like it's changed. Used to like a FedEx pilot doing on the side. That'd be an ideal client back in the day, but
now they're learning.
Or thinking, and because of how much stuff they had to take back during the downturn, that asset, anytime it's like not supervised by a professional, for lack of better words, not saying a pilot or somebody, that person's not professional, but professional in the sense of systems and software and staff and records. I think we saw that posting on Facebook a few weeks ago. Hey, I need a house, but I need it managed by a CrestCore, one of our competitors, because we keep great records and all that stuff. And the whole point of that is when the going gets tough, sometimes that person gets going, leaves, and so they want to make sure that house is taken care of. So that's probably the biggest, a strong client with good financials, got good credit, but that's wanting to be more passive. They're not interested right now in helping an investor. It's kind of weird. That's where a hard money conversation comes. So where there's a will, there's a way. But on a general, just a person starting out, they want them to have a W-2 job with good credit, and they're turning over all that to the professionals. Yeah. For lack of better words, that's what most of the bankers are telling me right now. Not all of them.
That's
but
super interesting.
It is.
Yeah, to find out what they're looking for.
Some of them are actually saying who the property manager should be and all that kind of stuff. The banks
They're starting to pick it.
They're starting to pick it, yeah, because they see how many unethical or not professional groups are out there. They just want to make sure that they're just buttoning up their system. They're just so much smarter than they used to be.
It's their asset.
They learn from the mistakes. Yeah,
it's their property.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like it's of course it's the investors, but the collateral is the property.
That's right.
In most cases.
Yeah.
So they do want to make sure that their assets protected.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm talking with Dan Butler here with CrestCore Realty live in the studio about top quotes to live by in real estate investing. We're going to take another real quick break. Last one of the show. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. We'll be right back after this.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the CrestCore, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010.
Continued mostly sunny and warm. High temperatures mainly in the upper 80s. Winds will be swirling and they'll be light. Clear upper 60s tonight, but back to near 90 over the next several days. Increasing rain chances by late in the weekend. Memphis Spine and Rehab relocating to Germantown across from the Chick-fil-A on Wolf Trail Cove. Check them out at thememphisspine.com or call 901-751-0939. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook. You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. Guys, today I've got Dan Butler in the studio. We're talking about top quotes to live by in real estate and investing. And I don't, if it's not necessarily quotes, but it might be topics, things to live by. I mean, a lot of these things, guys, you've heard us, that it might be, oh, I've heard them say that on another show, or I've heard a little bit of that on another show. And that's accurate. We're not regurgitating the same thing over and over again, but I mean, like we believe what we preach. So you're going to hear a lot of these sayings, sentences, thoughts, philosophies in a lot of these topics that we're talking about. What were you going to say?
No, just laughing. We joke at home, like I don't talk much. And so when I do talk, I've really thought about,
yeah, what you're going
to say. And I think that applies to this radio show as far as just, we're very thoughtful of trying to help our listeners, be successful. And share from our mistakes. I think that's where the rubber meets the road and where the growth happens is the mistakes. And, I think we're going through these quotes and situations to, hey, you can be successful in every one of these markets and every one of these situations, but you just got to do your homework and got to think through, got to be intentional and purposeful. I think that's where people just, sometimes, I hate to use the word flippant, but
yeah,
they just go and but I mean, you got the flip side. You got the guy. I saw one. They were pushing this guy on Bigger Pockets this morning on a forum that he's read everything, every podcast possible.
Yeah,
he hadn't done anything.
I love those guys.
And so then the guy goes in there,
They're
goes,
the smartest guys in the room, right?
He said, he's like, stop reading and go do something.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. I was like,
it's as simple as that, though, right?
That's right. Do something.
I've had buyers before come to me and and I call it spreadsheeting it to death. They're going to spreadsheet a property to death. And if you really wanted to sit down on every single property and beat it up and find a way not to buy it, you can do that.
You can do it, yeah.
You can do that on every single house, multifamily, whatever you're buying. If you really want to get down and say, hey, I'm going to, let's get real nitpicky, well, you can find a way not to buy every house.
Yeah, analysis paralysis will kill you.
Paralysis
by analysis. There you go. I think that's we see that a lot. I
don't see it as much anymore.
And that's probably because we're in the peak and what we talked about. People are frenzy and their friends are buying, and so they feel like they got to buy to keep up with the Joneses, and that's the wrong reason to get in this business. I think that's what we need to probably hammer home as well. Like, this needs to be, you really need to think through, what's your long-term, do I really want to own houses in Memphis, Tennessee, or wherever it is?
Because this isn't a hobby.
This is not a hobby.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
My wife summed it up good the other day. She's like, people don't realize how much hard work we've been through in the last 15 plus years. No clue. They just think that everything's been honky-dory. I mean, she can tell you stories of me leaving the kids and going collect rent, Saturday, Sunday, putting signs up.
On the phone.
Yeah. We did a lot of conversation. I'm driving around
collecting rent, man.
Collecting rent.
Dang, bro, didn't you just get off the road from your full day?
Yeah. Literally, I would land at 5 o'clock on Friday, 5 or 6.
Go drive for 2 hours and collect
drive 2
rent.
hours. Go Saturday, leave lunch, go show houses. I mean, so we're saying all that to say it can't be a hobby.
No.
Now, do I recommend people doing what I did? Not really.
Not for their sanity
but I do think I think when we have an investor right now that is getting out 30 houses, I think, and he totally wanted a strictly 100% passive investment, and he found that can't be 100% passive. He had to make decisions. We had to ask him questions. He had to be involved somewhat.
And he didn't want it.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But he was a bond and stock guy, and he knows how to go invest that money and get a 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe more % return pretty safely,
That's a great attitude about it, too. The way he's looking at it is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
It's not for him.
He's like, it's working. This is cash. He shows you his portfolio. It's cash flowing. It's working. That's not what he was looking for, though.
Right.
He needs to be real passive.
Yes.
And whatever it is that he's
it's just a different part of life. So
that's right.
But that's not what this business is. I mean, I think we need to make sure.
Yeah.
No matter what you're flipping, you think about these flippers out there that have done flips and they want to just pay contractors and go sit in the office and buy the house from the office. And no, you need to go learn that stuff. You need to, not to say you need to be swinging the hammer every day, but you need to
be out there figuring it out.
You got to be figuring it out. I think that's the key.
So we're talking about how to prepare for this peak. Define what, where, how you will take advantage of the downturn. So let's say now we're through that peak, and it's coming down to a downturn, right? Which we talked about at the beginning of the show. That's gonna happen,
right?
How or what would be one of the main things or the first thing that comes to your mind when he says, how do you prepare or get ready for the downturn?
Well, I think part of it is even just having this show. It's like people are like, why are you talking about this? Is this a scare tactic or is this?
Yeah,
no. This is like, this could be 2 years out.
It could
real estate's a slow moving machine. Like it could be 5 years out, but you need to be thinking about this now. If you really want to take things to a 10x level with your investments and your strategies and all the things you're doing, you need to be thinking about what the downturn looks like and how you're going to handle it. And,
if you're a 25-year buy and hold investor and you're not thinking about that, I think it's foolish.
Yes.
I think you're setting yourself up for either a fail, a dramatic failure, or you're setting yourself up to where you're missing out.
Yeah, you're missing out. You're
missing
behind.
out on the prime time to begin in your buying.
And probably part of that's just being too scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just you're scared to do it. So
scared money never made any money.
Scared money never made money.
That's a gambling term, but I mean,
is it?
It's this, yeah. But I mean, for this, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
If you're scared and you're not willing to take a chance, then it's never going to happen for you.
So yeah, I think that's where you boil down to. We talked about banking is the big deal, but your network, you got to get all that team buttoned up, and really for them to understand who you are and what you do and how you work. Your attorney, your insurance person.
Something else we've touched on 100 times is your network.
Your network.
You are who you hang with.
Yeah.
We've talked about it many, many times. Have your entire team ready to support you in a downturn. So, what we mean by that is, have your cash ready for your bankers to see. Yeah. Have your insurance understanding what's coming up. Just make sure that you're aware. That's the biggest takeaway for me too. Is if you're not preparing for this kind of thing, whether it's a peak or it's a it's a valley, no matter what it is, if you're a long-term 25-year, which is, would you say the percentage of our clients are those 75
Of what? Long-term?
Long-term.
Yeah, 75.
I'd say 75 to 80% are long-term. So the folks that are listening to us and following us and listen, if you're not thinking about peaks and valleys and how to adjust and how to have your team and how to have your mindset adjusted to that, I think it's foolish and you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, I think part of the show is just to try to tell people, like, don't worry about the naysayers, what they're saying.
Yeah.
You just could be over here on the side preparing yourself for whatever that market might look like, and step back, make sure in the peak that we're in that you're preparing yourself properly, but also thinking, like you said, 2-5 years out, what does that look like, so that you're, I kind of like a tug of rope, you're pulling yourself towards that, that next market, that next peak, that valley, whatever that is.
So if you truly take advantage of the down real estate cycle, everyone will be busier that works for you. Your insurance agent, your property manager, and everyone will come closer and closer. It's funnier, the busier you get, the more snug your circle gets.
Yeah. I mean, you tighten it up because
you don't have time.
You don't have time. You pick the people that are rising on the cream of the crop with you. We've seen that over and over again.
We're going through it now.
With several different vendors, and some that could handle this back a year ago can't handle it now. And so you gotta zig and zag.
And we've talked about how, if your insurance agent or your attorney or your whatever isn't prepared and isn't fit for you to grow, you got to cut. You got to cut it loose. You got to cut the ties, and you got to find out somebody that can.
And I think that, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but so bear with me. So Douglas and I were talking about this morning in our run about being in a kind of a mastermind group and that kind of stuff, and it was interesting talking to a guy, a strategic coach yesterday. He's a coach coaching you on your personal, just getting you to the best you that you can be. And there's two different mindsets. Do you want to be on the group that's all like you, or do you want to be in the group that's way ahead of you?
Yeah.
Which one do you want to be in?
Way ahead.
Way ahead. You want to be like, man, why is that guy in this room? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you're pushing hard to make sure you add value.
You are who you hang with.
You are you hang with. So if you're hanging with people that are, have 1 or 2 houses and that's all they've ever done,
that's what you're going to be.
That's what you're going to be. But you hang with a guy that's got 100, 200, whatever that is.
Hopefully you can learn to be.
You're going to learn how to get to that point, if that's what you want.
Yeah.
Now let's just back up. You might not want that. And that's
fine.
That's totally fine. I mean, just you and I sitting here, you have different goals of how many houses you want than me.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with either one at all. Zero.
No.
You just got to decide who you are as a person. And
I started at a different time. And that's a lot of people listening here are going to be starting at different times.
That's right.
So they're going to have different goals.
And you just got to you got to look at your life situation and where makes you comfortable. And I mean, I met a guy at the conference in Philly a month ago, that has 20 Airbnb. Half of them he owns, half of them he subleases from somebody else and leases them as Airbnb. And he's traveling the world. Now, he's not a millionaire. He's not.
But he's making it.
He's making a living, and he's traveling. He's got the pictures he showed, just
blowing your mind,
playing with chickens, and
we'll talk about that on the next show.
That's right. That's right.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you coming in today. Man. Thank you guys for listening. Go to our website and check out those investments of the week. www.CrestCoreRealty.com. Go to the Facebook page too. You can check out all the shows, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday at 8 a.m. for the Memphis Real Estate Hour.